What's going on, everyone? Hawks21 here, back with another Splinterlands video. So I'm back here on the test server with the Riftwatchers cards, which come out very shortly on Tuesday, September 27th. I'll be doing a pack opening video that day. I'm going to open up as many as my potion count will allow me to, and as soon as I can open those packs, I'm going to hit record and start getting them open and have a video out as soon as I can. But as a part of this process, sort of getting to the launch date, as I said in my recent videos covering these cards originally, that there were going to be some changes made. These cards were being tested over the last week or two by Mavs on the QA server, and based on that data and community feedback, there were some nerfs and I assume some buffs. I haven't really looked at these yet. I do have the list of changes made. So we're going to be doing this a little bit together because I haven't really seen or gone through these at all. But from my quick glance, it looked like a lot of nerfs, which again isn't super surprising. You generally see, the creative team is excited putting out these cards and probably makes them a little too powerful. So once they look at data, normally have to tone some of them back a little bit. We're going to cover all this. We'll sort of go through the changes one by one. I believe there's 10 of them. But we'll see. Before I get into it, just a reminder, I am Hawks21 and I cover Splinterlands on this channel. I also am on Twitter and Discord, so if you want more immediate access to me, those are probably the two best places. Give me a follow there and come join my community Discord. But if you're new here to the YouTube community, this is where, all of the content basically gets made. This is sort of the basis of my community, so welcome. And if you could take a second to just hit that big red subscribe button, it would be greatly appreciated. Okay, so let's get into it. I have the list here, and we'll just go through one by one. Again, I haven't really seen these, so we'll be talking through them together. Yep, and we got 10 of them. So, Lichen Beast, reduced speed by 1, replaced phase with knockout. So I know this one is the Earth. This guy, the 5 mana. So let's pull up his stats and let's remember him for a second. So I do remember him. He had phase all the way down, and then at some point picked up in rage. I don't remember exactly where, but somewhere in these levels picked up in rage. So that's changed. They've made him slower. He is in rage right from the jump, and then in gold picks up knockout. Okay. So right off the bat, I remember this card being pretty bad in early levels, or early leagues, the lower leagues, because it had phase. It was slow, but didn't do a lot of damage, and was basically only usable in reverse speed rule sets down here. And then at the highest levels, it had 4 attack, 4 speed, enrage, and phase. So it would get up to 6 speed with the phase for only 5 mana and doing 6 damage. This was a fantastic higher league sort of mid-mana tank. And now I think that's flipped a little bit, just my quick reaction looking here. I think it becomes more usable in silver than it did before, right? Because if you can get with the enrage this up to 5 attack, it still would be pretty slow, but you could run it in reverse speed even with the enrage down at the lower levels, because it's only going to get up to 3. So it's not like it's going to be super, super fast. I think down here, the enrage makes it a little more usable than it was previously. But now, this isn't a card I'm super interested in. No, not really at all. There'll be certain situations, I'm sure, because 6 attack for 5 mana is still good. But, if you think about the Radiated Brute, I believe is the 5 mana reach monster with enrage. Part of what makes that card so great is that it's a reach monster, right? You're not going to put that up as your main tank. This is a little more health than that. But it doesn't have any way to avoid people, right? There's no elusiveness here. It's just going to get absolutely melted. So the highest level is not really interested. Let's actually put a quick peek here. We go modern, Earth, stun. Can I even play with the knockout here? So we have Hill Giant and Izza. Okay, so there would only be very specific rule sets where you could even set up this combination, right? It'd have to be either Super Sneak, where, you know, everyone's going to attack in the same direction, right? Hill Giant will attack the back line, Izza will attack the back line, and the Lichen Beast will attack the back line. Or Melee can attack from anywhere, for maybe the Hill Giant. So there's not really that many synergies here, so it's not like, that's not something I try to take advantage of a lot as is, but it doesn't really exist. Actually, I think there's a stunner in Earth for Riftwatchers. It's the triage, yeah. Uloth Dampier. So here in gold, you could run this, right? Although the speed won't really work out. Like the Lichen Beast will end up attacking before, if it's enraged, it'll end up attacking before the Dampier. So even that would be a little tricky to try to set up. So yeah, I think takeaway on the changes, Lichen Beast, better at lower levels, still not great. And I think it went from really powerful at higher levels as a mid-mana tank to, you know, not great. This is one of the cards, I'm not going to be quick to level this card up. I don't really feel a need for it. I don't think it enhances my deck with these changes. With the phase, 100% would have wanted to level this up immediately. Now this one's going to go sort of towards the back of the line. I'm a lot less interested in this card than I previously was as someone who plays in the higher leagues. Okay, moving on. Now we have Runemancer Flore. Increased speed by 2. So there's a buff for this card. I actually don't even know what Flore is. Is this? What's the Runemancer? Nope, not this one. This one had a Runemancer, not this one. Is it also? Oh, ooh. So they made this card faster? What? That's wild. So this card just got, I was worried this card would be in certain rule sets, right? Like Opportunity, for example. This card's going to be insane. Add it with Fernheart, right? Can attack from the front with the close range. Obsidian is going to give it the extra magic boost, right? And we don't even know what the new legendary summoner for Earth is going to be from Chaos Legion. So that, you know, that could potentially synergize here as well. It's making this faster. So it becomes less insane of a card in reverse speed rule sets, obviously, but it just becomes way more usable across the board now. So this is a big change. You know, this was a card I was already excited to get and was going to get because, again, you know, certain rule sets, this card's going to be absolutely insane. And yeah, now it just got even better. So yeah, this is what is going to skyrocket towards the top of my, you know, need to level up this card as quickly as possible and start using it list. So very excited for this card now, even more. There's not a lot to say, right? Like making it faster, going from 2 speed to 4 speed just makes it a much more usable card at every single league. So, you know, basically take what I said in my Earth video talking about this card and make it a little faster. So this card just got way better. Number 3, Limo Refugee. I should have looked up actually earlier so I could remember these cards. I think this is reverse speed by 2. This is the water one, the Refugee. Is this the one with the Void Armor and Enrage? Is it 2 reverse? Yep. Ooh. That's a bummer. So this used to get up to 6 speed. Let me just see, was there anything else? No, just reverse speed by 2. So this used to get up to 6 speed. With the Enrage would put it at 9. And then I was excited, you could play this with Kelia, right, to get the Void Armor, so you'd get that additional armor and the additional speed. And it would be a Voided Armor, obviously. And that was gonna give you 11 speed, which I admit is insane. Now it would give you 8 speed, which is still really good. You know, you could pay it with a Quadus for the backfire, but now it's only gonna have 6 speed instead of 9 speed. So it's a huge difference. That's 30%. If you don't bring sort of any other monster to the table. So I was talking before about, I was comparing this card to the Demon Shark. And if we sort of go look at that again, this tops out at 4 speed with Enrage 2. So now it's a very, very, very replaceable card with Demon Shark. It's a little more defensive. You know, it has okay with the 6 attack, right? But it doesn't have trample, doesn't have, or it's going to have 6 attack. Doesn't have trample, doesn't have retaliate. So again, a little more defensive. But now it's basically almost, it's a very similar use case card for me. Interesting move. You know, I thought what was going to make a difference was the increased speed. Yeah, they decided to nerf it. So I wonder if the data was just like, you know, this plus Aquatis or Kelia, or, you know, the new dragon summoner in Riftwatchers with Phase. This card was just way too hard to hit. And we needed to tone it down. That's probably what it was. I'm sure it was the right decision. Just a bit of a bummer. Because now, you know, it reminds me of this card. Obviously at 1 mana less, so if it comes down to it, I can squeeze this one in a little easier than the other one. And then evens and odds too, right? So sometimes I don't like playing water in odds only because I don't love the tank options. But I do have the Flying Squid, so I can bring the 7 mana Flying Squid, the 7 mana Refugee, and that's back to being a good 1-2 punch in the beginning. So I'm going to get this card. I'm going to want this card. It's a very good card. It just got sort of less OP. Moving down the list, Sea Stalker. So we're staying in water. Okay, hopefully this is... Okay, so I see Runemaster Kai as well. So we're going to stay here in water for a bit. Sea Stalker. Replaced Headwinds with Amplify. They said it might be an older change. This only affects the highest level. I don't know if this was this way when I made the video, but I'm just going to assume that it's not and just pretend like it's new. If it is a change, then, I mean, if it isn't a change, then, you know, you'll just get more Sea Stalker content. And if it is, then, you know, you'll hear my full opinion. So, I like this change. This is a great change. It makes this card better. Again, I've been talking at length how need attackers with support abilities, and Amplify and Cleanse are 2 great support abilities. So, Headwinds is obviously nice, but it's not something you can fully plan around, right? You can put it in situations where you're pretty confident that range is coming. There are obviously rule sets where, you know, you lose melee, you lose magic, and in that case, you know, you're increasingly likely to get ranged or archery attacks. So in that case, springing Headwinds, you know, you have a pretty good shot. With Amplify, you can plan around it. Right, so I can bring cards with Return Fire, I can bring cards with Magic Reflect, I can bring cards with Thorns, and then bring an Amplify to boost that. So I like Amplify better than Headwinds. So to me, this card just gets, you know, that much better. Card I'm going to be excited to own. You know, no longer do I have to bring either the River Nymph or the Kelp Initiate as my cleansers, which... Those are 2 fantastic cards, don't get me wrong. It's just in a 60 mana match, generally if I want to cleanse, I'm wasting a lot of mana, I'm leaving a lot of damage on the table. I can now bring a cleanse that does a lot more than that. So very excited to use this card. And it just, to me, in my opinion, got a little better. So next we have another water card, the Runemaster Kai. I feel like I didn't love this card to start. I don't exactly remember how it was, but let's see. Increased cost to 11, so got more expensive. Increased speed by 1, then replaced Amplify with Fury. Okay, so they basically traded amplify from here to here. So they must have really wanted to get water and amplify, or another amplify. And so they just made that switch. So let's take it here. It's faster by 1 and now has Fury. So I was a little surprised at how few Fury monsters, and actually I saw a clip on this, so we have a little bit to talk about here. I am a little surprised at how few Fury monsters there were. So I'm not surprised that they then added another one. And this one with Fury is very interesting because you do get boosted life leech. I saw one earlier where it was in gold. A 3 was hitting a taunt for 6, and it was getting 3 life leech. And I think it actually ended up being 50 health by the end of it. So to me, with this card just got a lot more usable, in my opinion, as sort of a standalone card. Yeah, I'm going to use this card a lot more now, just looking, because again, you can make Amplify plays, but I just didn't think Amplify synergized with this card that well. I like making it a little faster because again, it's more usable for me in any sort of regular rule set. And then if I'm expecting a taunt, if I can get a boosted life leech, and then by the time this gets in the front, it just has huge amounts of health, that's going to be something I'm going to want to do and super interested in. So as a standalone card, I think this is a buff. I like this card having Fury. I want more Fury in the game. So yeah, I think it's a minor buff. I like it getting faster. I like the replacement. I do like that Amplify moved somewhere else. Because this to me isn't a support card, right? It's an attack card that gains health that can become a really nice tank. So getting a better attack ability, granted it's a specific type of monster that gets the boost, but giving it that sort of boost I think makes a lot of sense. And then giving the Sea Stalker, which with the cleanse already was more of a support card, a better support ability in Amplify. I think just from a card making perspective, those were 2 really fantastic calls. So good job, team. So actually, if we look at it, right, I called this a buff, this a buff. This is obviously a big nerf. This is a huge buff, and then this is a huge nerf. So we're looking at 3 buffs to 2 nerfs. Interesting. Night Ghoul. Oh, we love the Night Ghoul. What did they do to him? Replaced Enrage with Taunt. Wow, let's go take a look. So Night Ghoul originally had Enrage from level 1. So now it's Taunt. Interesting. So you're going to get a level 1 Death Taunt for cheap. What was the other? Oh my goodness. Hold on, before I get into it, I just realized something a little nuts. So if we come to, we already have a modern Death Taunt in the Dark Pond. Okay, it's an expensive card for sure, but at level 1 it gets the taunt. Level 1 it gets the taunt. And I talked about in my neutral dragon video how you could have in modern, you could have a 3 taunt lineup, because you could play dragon with, here, I'll just bring them up. You could play, I forget their names, the Abor something for dragon, but you could play the Agor Longtail taunt. You could play the neutral taunt, the Lurker, and then you could play any taunt from any, so, you could then play the Night Ghoul, right, where that's 3. But this is the first Splinter, I believe, that has 2 modern taunts within the same Splinter. So you could play 4 taunt lineups with playing dragon with death. Again, I'm going to need to try out the modern taunts, the multiple taunt strategies. But that just seems like you could do some really crazy things. So that's the first thing that stands out with me. You can now do 4 taunt lineups. That seems a little nuts. I don't know if that's going to be a good thing or how you can work that in your favor. I guess if there were some like really big damage dealers in death, I mean, I guess, right? Let's look at this. You talk about the QA servers being a little slow. The Ra, right? We're worried about this sort of potentially being easily eliminated. If you run out 4 taunts, it's going to be a long time before your opponent is targeting Ra. That's going to be a lot of damage that the Ra could put out there. So, I mean, there's just one example, right? You're going to buy the Ra a bunch of time by running a 4 taunt lineup. So this is a very, very interesting change. I think, we haven't even really got into it, but I think this card as a whole gets a little worse, but I think it's going to create more interesting strategy. So it still has the force field. Yeah, I don't know. Because now, right, what was crazy about this card was it was really hard to eliminate with the force field and the enrage. So it was going to be doing a ton of damage. It would actually get pretty fast. And there was nothing you could really do. You just had to hope you had a bunch of 4 attacks. But now, the Fury is going to cause this card a lot of trouble, right? Because if you hit it with a 3 attack with Fury, as a reminder, I know this is one of the harder things for people to grasp game mechanic wise. Force field takes the base damage. So if a monster with 3 attack with Fury hits the Night Ghoul, the force field lets the 3 damage through, and then that 3 damage is multiplied to 6. So it will hit the Night Ghoul in that instance for 6. So this card just got easier to eliminate. I think this is a nerf. I would consider this a nerf. I'm gonna want this card. I need this card. I need taunts. I want to try these multiple taunt lineups. I think they're gonna be really fun and unlock some cool things. But with Enrage, this card was crazy. And I just think it got a little less crazy. Still excited to use it. I still think it's a fantastic card, a common taunt. I don't think there's any common taunts right now, so that's the other thing too. You're not gonna have taunts in different types of rule sets, like the Rise of the Commons and Lost Legendaries. So that's interesting. Still a good card. I think it's just a little less OP than it was before, which, is probably a good thing. Next, we have Septic Slime. What was Septic Slime? I'm doing okay finding these guys, but I actually don't know which one this is. I'm trying to... I think it's fire? Is it that really... Yeah. Okay. So what did they do to this guy? Replace Snare with True... okay. I like this. Replace Snare with True Strike. So I actually didn't mind the Snare because you could play this in situations where you were expecting sort of maybe Uriel on the front, or Pelacor Mercenary, or even Pelacor Conjurer. So this could be a specific type of card you played when you were expecting a flyer up front. And now giving it the True Strike instead at the highest levels, it just becomes more playable, right? You got the stun, got the heal. This only affects the highest level, so that's all I'm going to talk about. I talked about this card at length in my fire video, so if you want my opinion on this card in general, check out that video. But giving it the True Strike, I think, just makes it more usable, right? Like I can put this now in, melee can attack from anywhere rule sets in normal speed situations. I can play this card in the second position. I'm not worried about it missing a ton of shots anymore because it's going to have that True Strike. I think it just makes this card more usable, right, on, in any given rule set. It's still going to be a beast in reverse speed, just because it's going to go first, and it's going to be able to dodge if your opponent brings fast attackers. And now I think in regular rule sets, there's just more situations in which I'll be comfortable playing it, knowing that it's not going to miss a ton of times. So I like this change. So a lot of these changes are making me like the cards more. which is interesting. I was really expecting the opposite. Tinderlock, reverse. Okay, this was the one I have said from day one was going to get nerfed, and here it is. So Tinderlock got nerfed, reduced the speed by 2. So if you remember, this used to have 5 speed, 4, 5, 11. That's the only thing they touched though, so it's still going to be a very, very powerful card. Think about this card with the 5 speed with Yasik, which we've already talked about. Yasik gives it 7 speed, it hits last stand, and then it's up to 11 speed. Not only does it have 11 speed, so it's going to be really, really difficult to hit, it's also going to be doing 6 damage with piercing. So 11 speed, 6 damage with piercing, combining this with Yasik. And then death blow as well. So if it ends up being sort of like a Llama-Kron situation versus Tinderlock, or, you know, Llama Pellicor Mercenary or whatever it is, this card is just going to be doing an insane amount of damage to those types of lineups. You know, and that the damage output is still there, just now if you reevaluate the speed, right? Yasik gets it to 5 speed, still gets to 8 speed with last stand, so it's still very, very, very fast if you're boosting the speed. One play I was thinking about doing was, you know, 13 mana. If you run this Quid Yuff, you're talking 6 damage here with piercing, 5 speed. So a little less crazy, but I still think that's a usable strategy and one that I'm going to want to test. So I think this was a much needed nerf. I still think this card is very, very good, and I'm excited to try it. It's just, if you could get this easily to 11 speed when it got to last stand, I think that would have been a little much. So a welcomed nerf here. Only 2 left. Master Crafter. Oh, that was the neutral. Was it life or neutral? I think it's the neutral card that has Fury. Nope, that was a Rune Crafter. Nope. Okay, hold on. We'll figure this out. Actually, was it? Let's just stick with fire here for a second. Okay, it wasn't fire. What haven't we seen? We haven't seen life. Gonna have to bear with me here. You guys are all probably, you guys have all probably seen it. And do they mean maybe they meant the great content right now. They must have meant the Rune Crafter. Maybe it was like an old name or something. If I'm missing the Master Crafter somewhere, just let me know, but I'm just going to assume it's the Rune Crafter. Giving this an additional speed doesn't really do much for me, or additional shield. This has to be it, right? So I guess we're just going to skip this one for now. If it is this one, giving this one an additional shield, great. But, you know, not that game-changing, seeing as it already had a decent amount of shield. Okay, and let's end with the Scavo Technomancer. So was this guy? Yeah, here. So they replaced the Shatter with Rust. So I like Rust in general better. I think it's more usable. So from that sense, now you have 2 good support abilities that I like. And I did find out I was wrong. I said it was like 90% positive that Shatter, you know, with Blast, it would shatter multiple monsters, but I was corrected and said that wasn't true. So I was wrong about that. So in this sense, I do like this change. This still isn't, you know, a card I think is particularly powerful, but it is one that I'm more likely to use given the Rust than the Shatter, I think. I actually don't even know that that's true because I have been wanting more Shatter options. I feel like I've built up Rust a little bit and now I need Shatter. So that might not even be true. I don't really know. I still don't really know what to think about this card. I'm just gonna have to test it, see how other people use it. This one doesn't really make sense in my head. I do like blind, but just for the cost and the damage output, and you know, magic reflect, this card's gonna get demolished. So we'll have to wait and see on this one. I think I like this change. Rust is generally something I welcome more than Shatter, but we'll see. Okay, those were the changes. Again, I can't really find the Master Crafter, so I might be missing that one, and if it's increasing the armor by 1 is a big deal, I apologize. But I don't want to sit here sort of scrolling through as I look for them and waste all of your time. So that's it. If there's any more changes between now and Tuesday, hopefully there won't be. But if there is, I will make another update video. All right, that's it. I hope you guys are excited for Riftwatchers as much as I am. Stay tuned for my pack opening video. I think it'll be definitely over 100. We'll see how many potions I get over the next couple of days opening up my reward chests. But expect a, quickly expect a pack opening video for me as soon as Riftwatchers launches. Super excited. Happy to have you guys here. Thanks for watching. I will see you around the game, and have a great day.